first from David Windsor. I'm kind of edging, I think we mentioned this before, we talked about it before. I think Olimpia might just do the business tonight. They've got a lot to do as our referee steps in with seconds on the clock. Went to penalties yesterday evening in what turned out to be a little disappointing between Racing and Boca.
Very disappointing, John, yeah. I think we'll get more action tonight, more goal-mouth action.
Ganso upended with just seconds on the clock. Yeah, you were talking about the atmosphere in this, the fans so much closer to the pitch. It is absolutely throbbing here. Now, Flu will try to slow down proceedings. We know how quick they are to break. And as you pointed out, so that's a little bit shaky from Fabio. There's the intent.
Yeah, there's no time to do that, John. There's absolutely no time to do that. You know, Fluminense cannot fall into Flamengo's trap. When Flamengo came here, they were complacent. They wanted 2, 3, 4 touches. They wanted the extra second. So you're not going to get that. This is an Olympia side at home. They're really a high octane. I mean, just look at this crowd. I mean, they feed off the energy of the players and vice versa. That's a warning sign for Fabio.
Again, just so close to the pitch, all these fans. Like the Malacan out, you've got a bit of space. Gallo's giving chase. Spinola away. Let's see, Diogo Barbosa on this side. A second quick free kick. Cano, the culprit on that occasion. Arce then, who knows Brazil well, former player with Grêmio and Palmeiras. Paraguay coach as well on his CV. One-time right back, second spell with Olimpia.
Yeah, I mentioned 1 or 2 players in this Fluminense side that I think are pretty underrated as well, John. I think John Kennedy, I mean, I think there's a player in there, no doubt about it. Diogo Barbosa, you mentioned him. On the other side, Samuel Xavier, I think, is an interesting fullback. So, you know, there's quality in this Fluminense side apart from the obvious names.
Barbosa, heavily in a defensive role tonight. He's a good attacking player. They want a handball, Flu. Hasn't gone. Flag so far has stayed down. Here come Olimpia. And the flag is up as Fernando Diniz stares at the turf. There's a fiery figure. We'll see the glares if his players put anything wrong out there tonight. Has a certain way of playing, Fernando Diniz, which he really started when he got his early coaching roles at the likes of Paulista and Audax. Modified it a bit. Can't play out from the back every single moment, as Fluminense are trying to do now. Sometimes the Brazilian side so used to getting soft free kicks in Brazil tend to forget that the standard of refereeing in the Libertadores and Sudamericana tends to be a little bit different.
Yeah, they usually let things go, and rightly so. Saw a moment there from Felipe Melo where he's trying to play the crossfield ball across his 18-yard box, Sean, and I'm not sure there's really going to be time to do that tonight. Certainly not the first 5 or 10 minutes. Of his experience should know better.
Samuel Xavier unable to make inroads, but again, Fluminense, the word's gone out from Fernando Diniz, just slow it all down. Get through that 15-minute chunk without too many scares.
An earlier Olympia goal, John, will bring the house down. I mean, it really will. You know, the back heels and all this from Fluminense, they've got to be very careful early on.
Cano now making inroads. Just overplayed that one slightly. Alias gets his first touch on that far side. Quick to attack, swings it on his left. First header missed. Chance to clear their lines now, being urged forward. Silva, the Uruguayan, twisting and turning. It's whacked into midfield. That's a little bit loose. Kenner can cause so many problems when he's out on the left-hand flank. Fluminense just starting to settle. Xavier. nowhere to go. Surprisingly, Olimpia, David, just watching and waiting here. I thought they would have been slightly more gung-ho from the start as Felipe Melo saw a gap. Shooting opportunity maybe not taken.
Fluminense just popping it around really nicely. This is really mature, intelligent play.
Now Kennedy. Olimpia really need to close down those three-coloured shirts a bit quicker than they are doing. Allowing Fluminense to settle here, which is not a great idea. To bump up the work rate. Again, it's loose on that far side. Across the area, that was not convincing from the keepers. A shove inside the area. Referee right up with play. The flag stays down. Now he has tries to force his way through, but is dwarfed on the far side. And Olimpia just need to wake up here. Fluminense is seeing far too much of the ball.
Andre playing really well as well, John. You know, just mopping up, box-to-box style. He's got him in. I'm absolutely flabbergasted. He's still at the football club, I've got to say. See a free kick here. I mean, I was convinced that a Premier League club was going to put down 30 million and just take him off Fluminense's hat, make them an offer they just couldn't refuse, really.
And as it was, well, that's an interesting technique from Juan Espinola. But Olimpia just a little bit too sleepy for the fans' liking so far, and Kennedy making the most of a challenge by Gamada.
Yeah, Fluminense will certainly take their time over every set piece like this, John. And he's very, very well aware that they don't want to concede here. It just changes the entire dynamic of the tie.
Concede early. It's more or less game over, isn't it? Over the height. It's not a great ball in from Ganso. Again, picked up by Flu far too easily, and Olimpia really do have to get going here. Energy levels a bit too low as far as the home support are concerned. Cannot give Fluminense any time on the ball. Need to harry them right from the start. One of the new faces in the middle of the park. And they will go direct to Olimpia. He squeezed something out here. Again, they've got that big target in down the centre, so expect aerial deliveries, and in the end, Fabio, for the second time of asking, makes the claim.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. Comes out and claims well. You could just hear the roar, couldn't you, John? The first moment, really, for Olimpia in the game, and the crowd really responding to it. On point on Andre's game, I think. You know, where you see him now, he wants to collect the ball off his goalkeeper and centre-backs. If he goes to the Premier League, he's not going to have to do that. So he would have to alter his role slightly. It's the Premier League, you know, Serie A or maybe La Liga.
Energy very isolated just then. Gomez couldn't really control it. Break though on the side, Olimpia. Referee, I think the evidence so far is that he's not going to let too much physical contact go. And I think he's right on that occasion. Shirt pulling by Cano, who already has committed 2 fouls, and I think he's been given a final warning by our official. Out for the height of Facundo Bruera. Romania also at 1.85 m, no slouch in the air. Fabio was stretching for that one. And it was the centre-back who got a touch.
Yeah, this is where Olimpia is so dangerous. This is where they'll seek to profit. Just got to hurl the ball into the penalty area. You can see there's a little bit of a wind in the air in Asunción, Paraguay tonight. And that'll help them out.
Certainly clean the ticket tape away as this one's hammered off the line and into the air.
Yeah, you can feel it, John. You can feel it. Making that one too quickly, I think, for the referees liking, but, you know, Fluminense just can't let Olimpia have too many set-piece situations because, as I say, with the wind swirling and the height they've got, anything could happen.
Sabala One of the Argentines out there tonight. Fluminense facing an early test. Getting a little bit of a lecture. Oh, finally in, and Fabio turns it away! Reaction stop from the keeper, drilled in low. I don't know if Fabio saw much of that one, but he did the business for Flu. 42-year-old with lightning quick reactions.
Cracking save. Cracking save from point blank. So many bodies in front of him too, John.
Lifted in, again the far post. This is what we expected from Olimpia. If it works for them, that's the game plan. They're sticking to it. You know, away partially. Xavier can't get it clear. Nice as to spell this from the hosts.
Yeah, this is what they've got to do. What they're good at. You've got to play to your strengths. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, John, but load the penalty area, hit the big men, see what happens.
First goal could be all so important tonight. Now it's slack from Arias, and Flu got away with that one. Torres couldn't keep it in play. This is the Fabio moment. In fact, that's an earlier save. There we go. Straight at him. Nice height, David, as they say.
Yeah, it's a nice height for the goalkeeper, but nonetheless, I mean, he's still got to claw it away and make sure his arms are up, because if it hits his face, it's going to ricochet in. 2 years young.
Now a break on here for Flu. Almost picked out. Kello's attempt. He saw John Kennedy. Number 11, though, couldn't feed it through. Rosa, nice little step over. Keno never really had control there. That is Keno, really, that lack of consistency has plagued him throughout his career. Back in possession, back on the turf.
Yeah, free kick, referee's got that one spot on. Fluminense really need their leaders out there as well tonight. They need their Felipe Melos, they need the experience of Cano up top. Just try and win a few free kicks, calm things down.
Salazar came flying in. Andre getting refreshments.
What do you think, John? How high can he play in the game?
Well, I think the verdict really is that he's still relatively young by normal standards, isn't he? 22 years old, but for me, the fact that nobody's come in for him in this window says a lot. Yeah. And I think clubs have been looking at Andre for a while. I'm talking about 2, 3, 4 years. Let's see what Olimpia can do. Felipe Melo, stalwart, and a mishit volley. Felipe Melo again. That's great stuff from the veteran.
Textbook Felipe Melo, isn't it, John?
Yes, sitting deeper now. It's a more comfortable role for him, just helping out the centre-backs. But again, just going back to Andre, the potential's there, but obviously the clubs with a lot of money, as Kennedy looks for a cheap free kick, doesn't get it. Clubs obviously have a huge question mark over Andre, and I think it might be the physicality. I know there's slimish players who've done well in the Premier League in that kind of defensive midfield slot, as Olimpia need to get rid of this one here, and they're a little bit rattled.
Yeah,
but maybe that physical strength is lacking, perhaps.
You make a great point, don't you, John? That, I mean, the fact that big clubs have had a look at him and they decided not to pay the money. When you think about some of the money being spent, Premier League clubs spent 2 billion British pounds this window, John, and no one fancied 25, 30 million for Andre. Makes you wonder. I mean, I like him. Every time I see him play, I really, really like him, but I wonder if he potentially a move to La Liga or Serie A is a better fit for him.
Highly rated. Somebody I've had an eye on, that hard to, it's not one I would say right. 100% buy-in.
Yeah.
People like Valentin Barco.
Sure, no-brainer.
No-brainer. Absolutely, 100%. That one's out the bag.
Yeah.
He's going to go for big money. Andre is a different thing. Great stop. It was the right height. Well, it's almost straight at him, wasn't it, really? And Fabio perhaps showboating a little bit, but...
You're a harsh critic, Mr. Costa.
I'm hard to please all round, I'm afraid.
That's the right way to be.
As someone that says, well, he's just doing his job. I think that's the phrase, isn't it?
Aren't we all?
Well, it's open. 15 minutes gone. A tense-on goal then from both sides, but mostly Olimpia in the balance. But those 2 goals, that 2-goal cushion in the Maracanã, means that Fluminense can sit on it. As again, you picked it out before, that crossfield ball. From the experience, Felipe Melo, you're taught at school never to do that, really, aren't you?
It's a risky one, isn't it? Felipe Melo's in really good form, I think, John. I'm just surprised he's decided to do that on a couple of occasions. Give you Felipe Melo, you stick to what you're good at.
Kennedy's down the centre. Xavier Cano makes that clever little run. Tries to take away the defender. Keeper, the stretching, had to backtrack there. Not the tallest. Spinola 186, not a bad height, and Felipe Melo, again, a magic man in the centre of the park. Talked about his confidence. His confidence is sky high. Let's hope it doesn't blow up in his face. Kennedy. Dalit. Easily away. Referee, well, there's an advantage there. Referee decided not to get it.
Yeah, well, Felipe Melo, I remember watching him earlier on in the Libertadores in the group stages, John, and I remember thinking, well, I'm not sure that Fluminense are going to go very far with him in the back four, but credit to him because he's just got better and better as the tournament's gone on. Very impressive in the knockout stages, and, you know, age really can be just a number in certain positions on the pitch, and 40 years of age, you know, I think we're seeing a really interesting side to his game now. Sometimes it takes to 40 to mature, you know, and I think, you know, we have started to see you less tempestuous moments, let's say. So far, at least, in the Libertadores.
Yeah, so far, that is the big thing, isn't it? We're at the quarter-final stage, so he's done pretty well, okay. And a lot of touches as well, Felipe Melo. Keno looking down the field. Those has made the overlap, not used. And so, in fact, it was. Now in possession. Once again, Olimpia letting Fluminense knock this ball around. Of course, if you do that, they are going to settle. That was poor control from your man, Andre. Maybe one of the question marks was there.
Possibly, yeah. As a young player in South America, I mean, you mentioned 22 now, isn't he, John? You don't really want to get to 23, 24, and no European clubs taking a punt on you, because then, you know, you start to think about resale value, and some clubs get put off.
Arias hemmed in. Again, looking for the referee's whistle. Romagna with a challenge. Rueda yet to get going, despite that height. Not the most mobile of players. 19 minutes gone. Xavier just about doing enough there. There's a few words exchanged between Xavier and Nino. One boot is off for the number 2. Scored a couple of cracking goals against Argentinos Juniors, did Javier in the round of 16. As I said, John, I like him. He reads the game really well. With a golden assist in him. In around Sport Recife, Ceará, amongst many clubs. Underrated right back at times, Samuel Xavier. Doing it again, Felipe Melo. Third time that ball's gone across the area.
Yeah, he's sticking with it.
You know, it looks a little ungainly, doesn't he? He's got a cap for Brazil. Kennedy, so many problems of his own making off the pitch. Here's another one who would have been looked at. Good talent, but a rap sheet, I think that's the technical term of
yeah, I mean,
a lot of offences.
I think just on the pitch, I mean, he's always looks to me, John, like he's almost about to be a good player. You know, you see me think, oh, he's almost really good. I was quite impressed with him last week, you know, the Maracanã, but, you know, as you say, there's a complexity, perhaps, to his personality.
Herrera, the target. Guess who got there first?
Oh, man, Felipe.
Oh, yes. A giant so far.
How many more years has he got left in the tank, John? 2 or 3? 2 or 3 months?
Oh, I mean,
if he can make it to November the 4th, he'll be a happy man.
Well, that's right. I mean, we can't second guess Felipe Melo, but if you end up winning the Libertadores, what a perfect time to bow out.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I wonder if he's thought about management. That would be interesting. And see what Olimpia can do. They win it in the air again. It's on the roof of the net. Gamada's efforts.
Yeah, they got through the first 20 minutes. Fluminense will be pleased with that. In truth, a couple of saves from the goalkeeper, but rather straight at him.
Yeah, that lift hasn't quite come as from the fans. For me, they've just been a bit too slow, a bit too pedestrian. Olimpia never let Fluminense play far too often as well. Ganso will need a little bit of treatment.
This weekend on Ligue 1, Friday, Nantes versus Marseille. Saturday, epic showdown between Monaco and Lens. And Sunday, the match of the round. Lyon versus PSG, only on beIN Sports.
Lyon does have a reputation of being a pretty humid place. Interesting part of South America for sure.
This is taking an eternity. A man from Venezuela takes a few steps across. Ganso too close to the touchline for the officials. Xavier. Fluminense temporarily down to 10. Sandreas, better footwork from him. And the ball down the centre. Kennedy's onside here. Chance here for Fluminense. And buries it! And Fluminense are in front! He kept his cool in front of goal! They were down to 10 men! Found a way through the tricolor Carioca. That is a priceless goal. And as John Kennedy put the side from Rio into the semi-finals of the Copa Libertadores. What a move from Fluminense. Kennedy, that burst of pace. They timed his run to perfection. There's no chance of an offside. He got away from a flat-footed backline, hit his spot. 1-0 up, 3-0 on aggregate. Is that the tie over?
Well, John, I think it is. And that is the good side of John Kennedy. That is the side that they want to pull out of John Kennedy, because he's got that turn of pace. He's got the confidence to take it pretty early. Emphatic finish, saw flashes at the Maracanã last week. But if you're just watching it for the first time now, you might be thinking, yeah, this boy's got the lot. I mean, really quality. But he's onside here. I don't think we need too many checks. I mean, he's clearly onside. But the fact that Fluminense are now 3-0 up in the tie, I mean, I think they've done and dusted. I've been very impressed with them for this 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes perhaps, and I just think, you know, they've managed the game really well, really mature, waited for the moment, and John Kennedy delivers. And they're surely now in the semi-finals to play Internacional. From the crowd in their job. That's what the controversy's about here.
Card is also out.
there, but I just think at 21 for John Kennedy, I do see a big future in the game for him. What I like is he doesn't take the extra touch here. 1, 2, strike.
It really was a wonderful finish.
I don't think he even looks at the goalkeeper, you know. He has one look there, but then he's aware of where he's got to be. That's a fabulous finish, yeah. I think he enjoyed it.
Fernando Ginés ecstatic. Again, we talked about him having the talent. Off-field issues very quickly. Had a kick around with his mates, which is a cardinal sin for a professional player. Got himself injured. Failed to turn up for physiotherapy on more than one occasion. Lots of other issues, turning up late. Other off-field problems, relationships off the pitch. They sent him out on loan to Ferroviario, a small team in the Campeonato Paulista. Got in some minutes earlier on this year, scored a few goals. If he can sort himself out off the pitch, wow, I mean, that is the big thing. But you've got to, everyone deserves a second chance, but the thing is he's been going through his chances like nobody's business.
Do you remember what it was like to be 21, Mr. Cotterill?
Not really, no.
Mistakes are made, you know, and I think everyone would look back on when they're 21 years of age and say, I would have done that differently, I would have spoken to that person differently, and you know, that's without, you know, the full extent of his rap sheet. Of course, I read the stories and, you know, been well informed by one or two folk, but you never quite know. But, yeah, I agree. As a footballer, you've got to grow up quicker than most because your life's in the public eye, and you know, you've got a big responsibility. You're at a football club like Fluminense, I mean, absolutely massive club. So, yeah, I agree, John. I think he's a really good player in there, but yeah, he's got to sort the off-field stuff out. Because if he can, Fluminense got a heck of a number 9.
How much that goal is worth for Flu. Still time, of course, for Olimpia. Because it's relatively early, isn't it, in this second leg match, but that is a real body blow. We talked about how important the first goal tonight would be. That has to have deflated Olimpia. But again, for me, they just haven't pressed Fluminense enough. They've given Flu far too much time in the ball. You've got to grind down the opposition, back at them right from the start, and Olimpia failed to do that.
Yeah, Olimpia aren't scoring 3 goals tonight, John. Yeah, this is done and dusted. Doesn't mean turn off though, because crazy things happen in the Commonwealth Libertadores, let me tell you that. And Olimpia scored 3 goals against Flamengo, didn't they? Well, why can't they score 3 goals against Fluminense?
David Windsor quickly backtracking there. Beep, beep, beep. Such a crisp finish. A terrific ball in as well. He just burst away from a rather flat-footed backline.
Fluminense's passage as well has been really interesting. I mean, in the group stages, John, people were saying, wow, look at this Fluminense side. I mean, they had that, you know, incredible result, didn't they, at home against River Plate, where they battered the 5-1, the 4-time champions, you know, a side that are usually there or thereabouts. So they had that really big result, and they lost a little bit of form. But I just think what we're seeing now is a very interesting combination of maturity with the likes of Felipe Melo and, you know, the goalkeeper Fabio, and the youth of Kennedy and Andre. And I actually think if you look at the spine of the team, we talked about this the other night regarding Internacional. Look at the spine of the team, and you've got Felipe Melo, Andre, Kennedy and Cano, let's call them as the top 2. You know, there's a bit of something there. So I think the games against Internacional, if they are to go through, are going to be absolutely fascinating.
No Marcelo, the former Brazil left-back. When he arrived, it kind of upset the apple cart a little bit back at his old stomping ground. That incident on Luciano Sanchez, well, he's suspended, and I think sometimes you get one big name too many in a side like Fluminense, too many characters perhaps, and it's a bit more settled without Marcelo.
Agree, and I also just don't think that Felipe Melo-Marcelo combination was very intelligent to have on that side of the defence. I think you could get at them. I think they're better without Marcelo, yeah. You can see the lift that the goal's giving Kennedy, though, John. Suddenly zipping around a bit of pace. Do you think that spell out of Fluminense did him better, where he scored, I think, 6 goals, you know, in 11 or 12 games?
Fluminense were, I think, desperate to get rid of him, to be honest.
Not desperate desperate now, are they?
They'll be desperate to hang on to him for a while, that's for sure, but no, the game time, so many players who've had problems go off. And Ferroviario, an absolutely tiny outfit, with full respect to them, playing in the Paulista League, the São Paulo State Championship. So he was deemed not good enough to play in the Campeonato Carioca. They wanted him out in the São Paulo, which is in theory a tougher league, but Ferroviario, again with respect, a tiny little side. But he did the business, got the confidence, got amongst the goals.
6 goals in 11 games doesn't sound bad, does it? You think it humbled him?
Unlikely. This one is played down the centre. I think it was probably a bit of a shock to the system, playing against some of the even smaller sides around the Campeonato Paulista. There's some giants, of course, São Paulo, Palmeiras, Santos, Corinthians, but a lot of teams who only play in that competition the entire year. Semi-pros or less than semi-pros at some stages. So maybe it was a warning shot across the bows as Fabio flaps at that one. Javier, well, he slips. Just wonder, has the wind gone out of the Olimpia sails here, because it's rather subdued now, isn't it, from what we saw, the fireworks right at the start of kickoff.
Desperately need a goal, don't they, John?
Just to give the fans as well, paying good money tonight and turning out in great numbers as well, haven't been rewarded. And only that attempt on Fabio, which was straight at him, that's all they've had so far. Andre digging in. Although there's no need to, okay, it's the right bit frustrated, take it out on the opposition goal. He's hardly had a touch in the air. A 1m94 man. The goal before half-time changes the scenario, doesn't it? Just that little bit.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Need a decent-looking ball inside the area. And David Windsor, that wasn't one.
No, it wasn't, and it's very frustrating, John, because we know this Olympia side can get good delivery in, they can really rattle opponents. And to concede that goal, I mean, it's a killer blow. It really is. I mean, I could have seen them coming in tonight and scoring a couple of goals, maybe. To score 3 now feels like a stretch.
Again, flew down to 10 at the time. Oh, the Carioca's overjoyed.
You must have seen so many, John, young strikers in Brazilian football over the last couple of decades. I know you're very close to the scouting scene in Brazil as well. I mean, how many 21-year-olds do you see that have got lots of problems and just fade away because of off-the-field problems?
It's countless, isn't it? The younger the striker is, when he goes on a scoring spree, sometimes the more difficult it is as well, especially you've got things like the Copinha, the São Paulo Junior Cup. So it is amazing to see what the host can do. Fabio comes out rather easily. It is amazing how many top scorers in the Copinha, the São Paulo Junior Cup, which is a big youth tournament, how many of them finish top scorers, how many of them fail to get a professional contract.
Interesting. Just comes too quickly, presumably, the pressure, the party lifestyle.
And also, it's not a great tournament. Throw that in as well. Some very, very weak teams, so he can score a hatful against some real minnows from around Brazil. But it is a hunting ground. Again, looking a little bit. The referee reached for his card. It's gone flat, hasn't it, for Olimpia?
Very much so. Very much so. It's going to be a tough half-time team talk. Somehow going to make your side believe they can score 3 goals. I mean, that man there will be delighted, clearly.
Cano's hardly been involved, just giving away a couple of free kicks, but he hasn't had to be when you've got John Kennedy doing the business in front of goal. Did very well there, didn't he? Now Keno. That wasn't that well from Keno, out for a throw-in.
Yeah, that's you won't want to see that one again, will he, John? I don't think his boss will, especially when you got John Kennedy. There's the option and support.
Yeah, there you go. It's gone out of play. An Anugin is like an irate parent.
Yeah.
You know,
know, I think we spoke about it recently, John, the Ancelotti appointment at Brazil. We've both been told from our sources that it's not exactly done and dusted, so it is maybe it'll be there for a little bit longer than first anticipated. The World Cup coming around the corner as well.
Yeah, 3 years. Nicely won in midfield again, Fluminense. On top here now.
There's always a World Cup around the corner there, John, isn't there? After one finishes, you just know it's coming quick. Goes in some cycles as well, doesn't it? So, well, we'll see.
Well, this is crisp stuff from Fluminense, just carving their way through. Andre now, Cano, the heavy touch for the Argentine. I think Olimpia look beaten here, well beaten, which is disappointing from their perspective. Felipe Melo with a little bit of a chapelle, unintentional. There's the fight from Olimpia. It just seemed drained.
Well, Felipe Melo's juggling the ball inside his own half, John. You know you're having a bad night at the office.
And also you can hear the lack of reaction from the home support as well. Normally, well, certainly before the first goal went in, anywhere near that Fluminense goal, the crowd were on the feet, playing their team to knock it inside the back of the net. It's gone very, very quiet.
Yeah, and I think, you know, ever since Flamengo got knocked out of the competition in the round of 16, I do think the 4 quarter-finalists of Bolivar and Inter, Fluminense and Olimpia, all 4 of them prior to this phase of the competition would have just thought, wow, what an opportunity to reach the final on November the 4th at the Maracanã. What an opportunity. No Flamengo, no Palmeiras in our half. So, you know, it'll be really disappointing, I think, for Olimpia and Bolivar that haven't managed to take that opportunity as it stands, at least. I mean, it's a 5-a-side game inside their own 6-yard box.
Yeah, the wind has gone out of the sails in the side in white and black, being taunted in their own backyard here because that was far too easy for Fluminense. Needs some zip, needs some steel. You need a captain or captains to take control and get the side going. And they've given up. A long, long way out, and Fabio, well, recovered again. Such a long way out from goal. Silva's effort, if you can call it that.
Very ambitious, yeah. I think as well, I mean, Fluminense's result against River certainly sent shockwaves around the tournament and the continent, John, but, you know, if they could come here and win by a goal to nil, quarterfinals in Asunción, I mean, you know, they've got such a good record here, Olimpia. They've got such great history in the competition with the three titles to their name. They've reached 7 finals, so this would be up there as a really, really big result for Fluminense.
Again, just drifting past those white shirts. Energy staying on side. And down is been told to get up by David Windsor.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough contact there, John.
It's Arias who's the player down. It is getting no joy from the official. Have Olimpia got the bottle to at least battle with Fluminense? Those white shirts took forever to get inside the area. They've just lost it for me. They need a bit of someone has to give them a bit of a rocket, David, just to get them going. There's still the whole second half to come. You at least make a fist of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can't emphasize it enough. You get one, anything could happen in this ground. It really can. I mean, what I would say is, in open play, it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. So these kind of situations are their best bet. You know, Salazar here is just going to fling it in the box, hope for a bit of wind and a bit of luck.
It's a throw in from the Argentine, won't drop their way. They want a handball. The gesture's quite clear. Now Nino stepping in. I think the referee's already made his decision.
Yeah, and I don't like that, John.
A little bit of a wrestling match. Ganso. I wonder if they'll look at that. Ganso just wrapping his arms round Ruera. Henrique Ganso has developed these little things in his game quite recently. Where's the handball?
Well, if anything, it's Fluminense free kick, isn't it? Because
Romania.
Yeah, exactly. A bit desperate that, asking for a penalty there.
Leisurely ball inside the area. Fabio saw it late. Everything that's been thrown in there has gone straight at the keeper.
I'm just over here checking his age, John, because at 42, I mean, he's still very, very agile, isn't he? Very impressive.
Dipped in. Once again, Cardozo's ball, you know, perfect height as far as the keeper's concerned. Peter Shilton would have held on to that one in his glory days at the Garibaldi Reds.
She turns 43 next month as well.
Felipe Melo. Anticipation from him. It's quite an old side, isn't it, Fluminense? It's a sprinkling of younger legs. A rare corner. Where's the lift?
Yeah, it's got. I think they've got to get a goal before half-time, John. And if they could nick one here, going at one apiece, the tie's on again. It really is.
They just seem to have lost belief.
Can't give up hope.
Absolutely, I'm with you 100%. Across the area. Easy for Fluminense again. Really have to go for it, Olimpia. 23 goals at home. It's not beyond any side, is it really?
No, absolutely, and I do think this Fluminense side, they've got great qualities, and yes, they've got experience, but you mentioned it before, I mean, they can wobble. You know, I think this Fluminense side can wobble. I do think if you got the first goal against them, anything could happen, really. But you've got to believe that, and at the moment, Olimpia don't believe that.
Andre kind of laboured when he was moving forward. There's a chance, though, for a second energy. Saw Xavier, couldn't pick him out. Ganso calling influence in the centre of the park. Likewise, so far, Felipe Melo has not put a foot wrong. This has been the issue for me. Letting Fluminense knock this ball around. That's a great delivery in. Energy, though, unable to control it. So he picked him out perfectly.
He'll be really frustrated as well, John. Yes, the ball had a bit of zip on it, but, you know, John Kennedy, having already scored tonight, would have fancied his chances of sort of bringing that down and taking it out of his feet.
Melo again, spot on with a challenge, enjoying his night of football. Can Olimpia punch a way through before the break? Turn everything around here now. This could be promising. It's deflected in, and that's a goal lead.
A really big moment, a really, really big moment for Olimpia, and that has brought the house down because they've got an opportunity now. Zabala, listen, the goalkeeper's not going to be happy. He sees it late, takes a nick on his way through, but he just has a go, and it comes off Nino, I think, and it just wrong foots Fabio. The decent enough cutback, but when he has a go, I think Cano's in front of him, and then Nino as well, and Fabio can't keep it out. And all of a sudden, Mr. Cotterill, we've got a tie in our hands. We said Olimpia would have to score prior to half-time, and they have done so. Yeah, it's a big, big goal. I mean, it's a really big goal for Olimpia because I think 3 in 1 half was just going to be too much. But the fact that they've got 1 goal now means that anything could be possible in the second half. You've got to believe it. well. Needing the crowd to get involved in the game. And who knows, could they nick another one before half-time?
This is enticing. Suddenly, that belief which has dissipated appears to have come back. Now will Fluminense wobble. Olimpia to his reverse header. You're right about the deflected goal in the glaring eyes. Has the faith returned? Second one now, David, and we've got game on.
Wow, yeah, you can feel it as well.
Two white shirts go for it. There's the third. They got the slice of fortune they wanted, Olimpia. How different will the team talk be now? They just managed to punch her way through to what it would have been 5 minutes ago when they were dead and buried, trailing by 3 of the 2 legs. Referee is going to do what here?
Felipe Melo's just absolutely hammered the turf. I mean, he's furious because the decision's gone in Olympia's favour. Felipe Melo's saying you've got to chuck at the ball there, and I have to say I sympathise with him. He's got a yellow card. Got to be careful, Felipe Melo. This is where traditionally he boils over and he kind of becomes his own worst nightmare.
Down, he just goes up and down, doesn't he? But I still like him as a player.
Yeah.
I know we've said he's a liability and a loose cannon, but he's all heart.
Yeah, he is, and you know he's also a very important part of this Fluminense side. And after 40 years of age, we're seeing a more zen Felipe Melo in the way he just shook hands there and calmed things down. John, he knows he's got to stay calm. People mature later than others.
Never thought I'd hear the words zen and Felipe Melo in the same sentence.
Really some Stoic philosophy recently, so.
Now, what a moment here for Olimpia. A slice of fortune to give them a foothold in this game. As that belief returned. Another goal now would take the roof off, if, of course, there were a roof here in this stadium. Let's see what they can conjure up. Tabala will be on his left foot. Big moment here. It's over the wall, over the bar. We've seen him before, Silva, from a long way out. This is the equalising goal. I think it came off 2, was it? Nino in the end. Certainly you can see that ball being deflected away.
Yeah, I think Cano just kind of obstructs the view of the goalkeeper, and then Nino is the player who comes off, and I don't think really actually Fabio could be held to blame for that.
Felipe Melo again with the clearance.
An exciting first half at the Estadio Defensores del Chaco, and an important goal by Zavala to pull one back right before the end of the first half. Second half is going to be fantastic. The Express Halftime presented by Verizon is coming up next. A penalty kick shootout in the quarterfinals of the Libertadores when Boca eliminated Racing in Avellaneda at El Cilindro. A substitution here for Olimpia as the number 16 is coming on, Guillermo Paiva, replacing Marcos Gomez. We'll see if the striker can make a difference here for Olimpia in the second half. The winner of this encounter will move on to face Internacional in the semifinals. Let's send it back out to the Defensores del Chaco for what we're hoping will be an exciting second half here on beIN Sports.
Olimpia then their white kit, that flash of black to get the second half underway. Will they really go for it in the second period? the supporters wanted, what the neutrals wanted. They were just a little bit lacklustre at times, Olimpia. Allowing, Fluminense took advantage to take the lead with John Kennedy. Sabala, though, has given them a lifeline. Once again, that ball is sighted. The area once again, but Charles goes begging. Torres turns his eyes to the heavens. And there's maybe a handball there as well by Barbosa, which they might look at when they say that shoulder. That's interesting already, right at the start of his second half.
Well, Torres has got to do far better, John. Torres has got to do far better with a header. Can't believe he hasn't managed to keep it down.
That would have been the dream start, wouldn't it, for Olimpia at the beginning of the second period. The ball is moving, says our referee.
Fabio doesn't want to take the long one himself, does he, either? Felipe Melo on his tiptoes to take it off him.
Again, they do take their time, don't they, Fluke? Andre. Made it look too easy. That's, for me, that's been the big problem, really, from Olimpia tonight. Charging down things as they do so on this occasion. Rueda. Such a clumsy-looking player, isn't he? But does well there. In for his height, but... yes, tight corner. This is the problem again. Fluminense allowed to play themselves out of situations like that. That should not be happening. Now Kennedy is on his bike. Romania accompanying that double marking did the job in the end for the home side.
Pretty nice, wasn't it, from Fluminense? John back to front, flick in there from Andre, and it's a nice build-up play. Quite find it in the end, but Kennedy's going to find more space in the second half because Olimpia are going to have to take the gamble to try to get back into the tie.
A little bit soft on the initial viewing. Again, where's the urgency from Olimpia? Something which they've lacked throughout this game. The whole question of getting the balance right, of course. They can't be running around like headless chickens. However, David, you've really got to press. I mean, you can't give Fluminense time on the ball. They've been guilty of that so many times tonight.
Absolutely, John. Absolutely.
Once again, far too slow for that 50-50. Giving themselves a foothold with Sabala's goal, and they have to take this match to Flu. Xavier. A three-coloured shirt available. What is becoming a rather blustery evening. Now maybe the break on. Free. Has he reached for his card? No, just the whistle will do.
Free kicks like this, John, they shouldn't be taking this short. Anything inside the Fluminense half like this, take your time, get the two big centre-backs forward, and just lift it into the area. I mean, you're right to mention the wind. It really is swirling around this ground. So I just think the opportunity's there to cause havoc. Don't try and be pretty, it's not your game.
You have more height as well with Paiva coming in. Need to be persistent here, Olimpia. Lost out on this near side. That's not what they call the officials. It's Fluminense ball, isn't it?
That was an incredible moment trying to pretend in front of all the officials that an Olimpia throw, and it was never going to be.
How many seconds have ticked away from this throw-in? Again, big number 9, Vuelta, so ungainly moving forward. Now they really have to press here. Cannot allow Fluminense, as they've done so many times now, those little triangles. It's half-hearted, isn't it, from Olimpia on that occasion? You've got to get in there, get a challenge in like that, get the side on their way. And here again, Felipe Melo allowed to get to the ball first before collapsing in a heap.
Well, I mean, it is a foul, but Felipe Melo made everyone inside the stadium know that he felt he'd been wronged here. It's not just the way he goes down, I mean, just look at the multiple rolls afterwards. Yeah, it's a foul, no doubt. A foul.
Also in the book.
I do admire Fluminense trying to play that way, John. You know, they realise that Olympia's high press isn't up to much, so they're just using Andre to drop in, and there's enough confidence amongst the two centre-backs in terms of playing the ball that just try and win that little game of 5-a-side, and then once you've done that, then you've got more space higher up the pitch, of course.
Maybe Francisco Arce needs to on the touch line a little bit more, kind of like Fernando Diniz, and barking instructions at his players. A bit more on Olimpia. Again, it's taking forever, isn't it? So you've got to admire the way they handle the game. Fluminense taking seconds off the clock. Ganso's got to go down, and does. And then it's just completely wasted, isn't it? It's okay. Has just come on, but even so,
awful decision making, awful decision making. Needs to be so much better than that. You know, he's not going to be Fabio from that kind of range. Had options left and right.
Every single free kick is working in Fluminense's favour. Ortiz, though, just grabbing hold of the Colombian, playing into the Brazilian's hands here. Xavier won't be in any particular rush. Hello again, very quiet by his standards. Look at this. How many players are pretending to take this free kick? Still they don't do it. Referee standing off. I think he's been a bit lenient. Those little triangles off again. This time they mess it up a bit, Fluminense, and Olimpia. At times, David, you just wonder how they've got this far in the tournament.
I mean, you know, the fact that they beat Flamengo over 2 legs is a real poor reflection of how complacent, how arrogant I think Flamengo were over the course of the 2 legs in that tie. Yeah, Fluminense will take all their time here. I think can't be shown. I mean, Olimpia, it's set pieces. It's got to be set pieces, otherwise they're not going to find a way through. That's a poor challenge as well from Ortiz.
Yeah, he took out Arias moments ago, batted into Cano. And Salazar, but maybe the replay we just saw there was Ortiz, but Salazar with a challenge. Again, well, this is bad news for the neutrals, bad news for Fluminense.
Yep, that is really bad news. You know, and Felipe Melo, once he says he's got to go off, he's got to go off. 40 years of age. Doesn't want the stretcher. But Fluminense got a problem now. They'll make the substitution, but just that experience that Felipe Melo has
Chocolate Santos, Lima, Marcinelli, maybe. Three choices going to be Marlon Santos, which is interesting. Very interesting swap.
Yeah, I think Melo will be thinking, hope he's fit for the semi-final as well. Should they make it there in about a month's time?
It's going to kind of fill in that centre-back role, Marlon.
Do Olimpia really believe? That's the question. You know, do they really believe they can do it out there tonight? Do you think that? I like this Fluminense side a lot. I do think you can get at them.
Flag up on the far side. It's been very scrappy in the second period. Again, it will suit the side from here. This is the moment. Melo got a knock in the back. What is it that made him decide he's got to come off?
Yeah, hard to see from that incident where he's picked up the injury, to be honest.
There's Xavier. It's forward, just ahead of Keno. Keno's hardly been in an attacking position, normally the provider in his heyday. Just wreak havoc down the flanks. Could be one of the slowest players I've seen in this tournament for a very long time. Races again, Kennedy. Well, he's not that fast.
His movement's good. Really good.
For me, again, it's just a bit flat from Olimpia. The energy level's far too low. There's still a chance for them. As you've been saying, they can wobble Fluminense. It's, that belief hasn't always been there for Olimpia. Work rate, average to say the least, if we're being kind. Just too easy for the Cariocas.
Yeah, second half's been poor, hasn't it? Tactical as well.
Again, this is the thing. Players just getting away from those white shirts with ease. Francisco Arce really has to apply some pressure on his team. He's going to make changes. One of them, another player who spent some time in Brazil with Santos, Delis Gonzalez.
Yeah, I like Delis Gonzalez. He can make things happen. Never quite worked out at Santos, but good experience. Dima Kiev and other clubs in the CV as well.
There on the far side, somehow manages to get that ball inside the area. It's going to just trickle out for a throw-in. Fans deserving more from this side. Creeping towards the 60-minute mark.
There's Gonzalez coming on then. Is it going to happen prior to the corner? No.
Lofted forward, two white shirts went for the same ball. Just on the edge of the area, charged down by Ganso. Energy beaten by the bounce.
Yeah, got to swing it back in now. Yeah, everyone's got to stay forward here.
An opportunity here! What was that? Outrageous for all the wrong reasons. Torres against his second chance on goal in the second period. Flew into the night sky. And his Torres will be making way. And he will be having nightmares tonight.
Yeah, Yeah, no wonder he's coming off, John. I mean, he's had a couple of absolute stinkers there, to be honest. A couple of big chances, at least in the context of the game. I'm not saying it's the easiest chance in the world. When you're coming in like that, and the ball is nodded down to you, just gets it so desperately wrong. Not sure what he's trying to do, really. He wants to go with his left, but you've got to go with your right.
For once, Bruera won the ball in the air. And that was his last bit of action as well.
You know, if he puts that at the back of the net, John, we've got some half an hour of football on the cards. Real shame.
Really did not decide what he wanted to do with the ball. Now, maybe the formation here might be a little bit more enterprising. There might be a bit more pace out there, and tenacity has been lacking from Olimpia. What was that? It was a reverse header from Ganso, puts his side in trouble there.
Yeah, load that penalty area, everyone forward.
Maybe Fluminense just getting a little bit complacent. For me, the key is bumping up those energy levels for the team in white. It's a better looking ball in. That angle, that zip on it. And Fluminense, a bit on the back foot here. Again in the air, again whizzed across the area. Again, not so accurate. There's a man down. Olimpia need to press. They're doing what they have to do here, and they're packing it with white shirts inside the area. Have they got a finish? Barbosa lets it run out. Romani back on his feet.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of nearly moments in there. It's got to be a little bit better, I think, the delivery. Double substitution now for Fluminense.
This weekend on Ligue 1, Friday, Nantes versus Marseille. Saturday, epic showdown between Monaco and Lens. And Sunday, the match of the round, Lyon versus PSG, only on beIN Sports.
Fluminense still be a little bit nervous about this as it stands, because you can just see Olimpia getting a moment. They've had a couple of half chances through Torres before he got hauled off, so they're going to get another one. Olimpia don't need to give away silly free kicks there. Really, really unnecessary.
You know how smart Fluminense have been when they've won this kind of chance. Ortiz again. Talked about Felipe Melo being a loose cannon. Ortiz at times on the way in. Take their time. Fluminense able to work the clock very, very effectively in this tie. Over the head of Kennedy. International, Brazil's international, looking on, David. What will they be thinking?
Well, they'll fancy it.
This ball, missed by Gonzalez, and he's caught offside. That is sloppy.
Yeah, I think International will no doubt fancy it. Let's assume as it stands that they're going to be playing Fluminense. And I think there's enough in that inside. I really like the spine of the inside. Of course, when you got Eder Valencia playing as he is doing, I mean, I think there's just a case to be made that he's the best centre forward on the continent, to be honest. So I do think Inter will be the favourites. That said, I think as long as Felipe Melo's fit again and back in the back line, I do think this is an interesting Fluminense side, and anything could happen. Who would you fancy?
The way these two playing now, difficult to see a winner in the final, assuming of course they get through the semis. Yeah, Inter looking strong, but Inter, however, if you go back to the group stage, only managed to squeeze through, didn't they, in the final day?
Yeah, and they've been in an awful form in Brazil as well, haven't they, John? So it's not necessarily everything's going fabulously for them at the club.
Really focused on the Libertadores. A lot of teams unwilling to spread a squad out over a competition or two. It always amazes me, really, because Fortaleza last year, the year before that, in fact, involved in the Libertadores, ignored the league, spent the entire, or three-quarters of the season in the relegation zone until they got dumped out and then just zoomed up the table. But you were putting your eggs in one basket.
Do you give Boca any chance against Palmeiras?
Always a chance. Always a chance.
Very diplomatic.
It's the green machine, isn't it, really? That's the issue for the other sides remaining in the Libertadores. Very efficient Palmeiras. No flamboyance. They've got the characters, they've got the skill, the tenacity. They've been there, done that.
Yeah.
And it's the efficiency that just grind out results. Boca, it's a bit inconvincing at times.
Barca's got to be fit for them to have even half a chance for me.
They've scraped through on penalties, haven't they, the last two rounds? But still in the hat, still there. Meanwhile, this game's gone off the boil a little bit.
Get a bit of a chance there, Marlon Santos, isn't he, with the right arm.
Again, Olympic players getting riled up. Unnecessarily, maybe. Need to focus on the task at hand. Cano, did he run into the white shirt, or did the white shirt deflect into Cano?
A bit of both.
Very quiet night for the Argentine. Stuck forward, isn't it? Break on for Flu. And he has all the options to his left. And today again, caught in possession. Now Olimpia playing those little triangles.
Yeah, this is what they want, Olimpia, free kicks. I mean, they're not going through this Fluminense side, they haven't been all night. But a free kick from this kind of position, this is where you can see them getting a goal or two.
Time's on their side. Silva poised to launch his ball forward and curls at Fabio. Decent enough clearance. Yes, they've got to go route one, but deliveries have to be decent to win the first and then the second chance and apply the pressure, which is better from Olimpia, which they failed to do for a lot of this game. But the changes, I think, give them more urgency. Assistant Scardozo.
Brilliant from Andre.
Took it down well, didn't he? They want it in the corner flag, but it's the wrong corner flag as far as Fluminense are concerned. Down the other end, fair enough. It's suspicion of a handball there, not spotted. In between the two white shirts. Well, I didn't want it, it's got it now. Goal. Gave them the lifeline, is moving forwards and not on the same wavelength. And Hugo Fernandez, good chance of getting that one.
Yeah, feels a little bit inevitable, doesn't it? And then just trying to see this one out. Quinto will be favourites for the semi-final, John, but Fluminense just with that knowledge that the finals being played in their backyard at the Maracanã. It's got to count for something extra.
Inevitable that Fabio would go into the book. Settle for the corner.
Here we go.
Gonzalez has given them a bit more pace, a bit more movement. Might be though that directness that it's already taken. Not enough for those aerial deliveries, despite all that height out there. That's tricky stuff from Kennedy. Now, he plays it forward. Fluminense, well, certainly get the free kick. Out comes the cards. 20 minutes going, and he's off for his second yellow. Great stuff here from Kennedy. Skill of his down the centre.
And that really just put pace to what has been a disappointing evening from Olimpia's perspective. It really has. I mean, it's so silly. You know, it's unnecessary. They're still right in the tie with 20 minutes to play. And, you know, Cardoso's done nothing all game. To get a second yellow for that, idiotic. You know, you've just got to let him go through, John, and see what happens, because they you know, it's no banker that he's going to tuck the ball in the back of the net from there. But now you're looking at it and thinking, well, how are 10 men of Olimpia scoring 2 goals here? They're not, frankly. Disappointing.
2 goals just to take the tie to pens. It's now looking very unlikely. Comes after Olimpia showing a bit more up front, a bit more movement, but they just shot themselves in the foot. It could get worse here. Chance it when he stumbles forwards. Can't get hold of that one. Fluminense just trying to rub salt into the wounds. But for me, the belief has never really been there from Olimpia.
No, it hasn't. You know, it's interesting, John. So often the early stages of the match just tell you everything you need to know, and you get a good glimmer of it. I mean, we saw last night with Racing, they had that great chance after 2 minutes, and you knew, you just felt, even then, the fact they didn't take that would cost them ultimately. And the fact that Olimpia didn't start the first 5 or 10 minutes well.
Melania goes to ground. Takes a lot to bring him down. It's still loose. And then second chance for a pen again, a referee. Absolutely clear-sighted, and he was convinced, nothing doing.
Penalty. It's a penalty, John. Penalty.
Oh, card. Okay, not for this one.
No, Andre has a really good challenge there, gets a boot in. Second one.
Let's see what the referee sees. Gonzalez down. I think our ref's spot on, actually.
Well, I mean, he loses control.
Flicks up the right boot as well. I think Hugo Fernandez is also booked for dissent.
I'll tell you what, they are lucky if they get away with that one for me, John. Andre, first one, good challenge, no problem. But look at Alexander, he goes flying in here.
No, I think our ref is spot on.
Does he pull out of the challenge?
The archer's bow, isn't it?
I think when both feet leave the ground, you're in trouble. That's what I would say.
Our ref, I think his positioning could not have been any closer to the action.
Agree.
Olimpia fans, from their angles, I'm sure, for them, Stonewall penalty, but for me, I think he...
Yeah, that last replay, you're going to have to backtrack and possibly agree with you there, John.
Do the noise.
But it's the kind of one if it's given, you see why. You know, I mean, the minute 2 feet leave the ground like that, you're out of control. And there was contact.
Card confirmed for dissent. It's gone pear-shaped, hasn't it? Again, well, they're checking it. VAR steps in, but for me, I think our referee was bang on, really. If he gives it, it will be the controversial moment. Well, see it again from this angle.
This is the reason I think it's a penalty, because he leaves the ground. He leaves the ground with both feet, and then you're not in control. You're not in control of the movement, and there is contact after that. And that's why I would say it's a really tight one. I could see why the referee didn't give it in real time, because there's not actually too much contact, and he hasn't been given. Referee vindicated, Mr. Cotterill vindicated, Mr. Windsor.
I was hoping you'd be producing that sound effect. Didn't happen, though.
Well, I mean, it's a really tight one. You know, I stand my ground on a few things. I do think that it's very careless as a defender to raise 2 feet like that inside the penalty area. But they needed that, didn't they, John? I mean, Yeah, that would have been a bit of a lifeline.
It's slipping away. I think the energy levels have been far too low from Olimpia.
I think Andre's been fantastic tonight.
Oops, they might be heading for a second red card here, especially this man who's been he's been over the top as an Ortiz. I'm surprised he hasn't been booked beforehand, to be honest. Coming with a few clumsy challenges. That was unfortunate for Flu.
I think Andre will be disappointed that a Premier League club or a European club hasn't come in for him in this window, John. You know, 22, he's shown some good stuff recently. I'm not saying he can go right to the top of these leagues, but clearly he wants to see what happens with his club Fluminense in the Libertadores this year. But, you know, I think he'll be really disappointed. But yet, he might think, November the 4th, Maracanã, I could play a Libertadores final in my club's backyard. I mean, they could beat Palmeiras in the final, be one of the greatest nights of his life.
And then a month later, December window opens and he's on his way.
Yeah.
Perfect scenario. Long way to go there between now and then. A lot of ifs and buts there.
There are, but there's a few little narratives I'm seeing, John. You know, Enner Valencia, the Inter striker, his birthday is on the 4th of November. He turns 34 on the 4th of November. Is it written in the stars?
Let's hope he doesn't over-celebrate the night before.
I really like him. He's a top striker. Can't believe they got him, to be honest, at 33.
Referee saw the shot. It's crumbled. Talked about Fluminense might crumble here. It's Olimpia. Never really at the races in this second leg. And Lima just waited for contact. Knew it was coming.
As well, John, I mean, you know, you're going to have the 4 semi-finalists, 3 of which are Brazilian. You know, I mean, it just shows the domination of these clubs in the Libertadores in recent years. We know that, you know, Flamengo won it in 2019. Palmeiras back-to-back finals, 2021. Flamengo won it last year. I mean, it really is some sense of domination, isn't it?
Always phases, though, in the Libertadores. There were seasons, years when the Argentines dominated the competition, when it wasn't of interest for the Brazilians, which is hard to believe as this ball is curled into the night sky. Back.
Why was that historically?
Well, not a million years ago. Let's see what happens with this run here first. Where's the support? No one there. Andre back. Shield the defence. Fabio clean-footed. Nino again just played it out very comfortably. Although Alexandre got caught in possession. Go back, of course, before plane travel. Really got set in Brazil. The state championships, talking about the state of Sao Paulo, the size of the UK, because the state, 4 big clubs, local bragging rights a lot more important. You didn't really have the National League until 1971. You had the kind of minor, basically cup competitions, which are now recognised as league tournaments, which they never were, and they really shouldn't have been. So anything before 71 was really a cup competition, but now they've been added on, so you suddenly see teams having 11, 12
right.
league championships. They're not league champions, but they're counted. Clubs aren't going to say no thanks.
Sure.
So the status of a travel and winning your local league, which was always tough. You had a lot of big names in the 70s in Sao Paulo. Go back to the 82 side, the Brazil 82 side, all based in Brazil.
Yeah.
All of them, just about.
Yeah.
One player, I think, Falcão.
And that's not that long ago, really, in the context of the game. I mean, I guess just when I talk about the domination of Brazilian sides, you know, you look at the Libertadores since 2010, John. So 13 years since then. Brazilian clubs won 9 of those 13. You know, that is real domination for the last 4. And I tell you what, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if the 2020s are a complete Brazilian clean sweep.
It's the economic powerhouse of the region. Here they come again. Kennedy, will he get his second? Goes one way. Kennedy off the woodwork, and the follow-up is turned in. And if there was any doubt, that has evaporated. Cano on the score sheet. The same players who scored in the Maracanã have done it again away from home.
8 goals in the competition for Cano. And my goodness, he's been a fox in the box in the Libertadores in 2023 this year. And John, this Fluminense side, they can smell it, they can dream. The Maracanã on November the 4th, who knows? Of course, they've got to get past Inter in the semi-finals, but there's something about this Fluminense side. Things just break for them. The luck's just with them. And Olimpia haven't turned up tonight, make no mistake about it. But nonetheless, by the way, Kennedy, I mean, he showed tonight what he can do. There is ability, there's tricks in the locker. And those front two, John, no one will want to face them.
Yeah, shows that it can go both ways, Kennedy. Cano, perhaps, they say a bit fortunate. He'll say when it pops up at exactly the right time, the right place. And that ability to predict where the ball will be just bounces off the knee. And it is game over, tie over. It's been that way for a long time. And Kennedy found the net earlier on. Olimpia majorly disappointing because it's been a huge turnout. The fans have really put a show on. The club put a show on. The team did not deliver. The attitude for me, David, was never really there. That gung-ho approach, which was required, was sadly lacking tonight.
Yeah, Olimpia just haven't shown up they? Not at all. And that's been a real shame for, you know, the spectacle of the contest.
There's to be a handball.
Yeah. Small goals in this for Fluminense if they want them, by the way.
Kennedy, has he got the legs to get through?
Fascinating Kennedy, though, John. I mean, you know, we talked about it earlier, and you were talking about his spell away from the club, and they wanted rid of him, and he had the humbling experience of playing at a far lower, you know, club in Brazil. And now here he is, you know, participating, scoring goals, playing a big collective part of the team in the quarterfinals of the Libertadores with some turnaround.
Closing in on a place in the semi-finals of the Carnival Libertadores for Kennedy.
Cano as well, I mean, you know, 35 years of age, he's the top scorer in the Libertadores this year. And when this tournament started, I mean, you would have looked at Gabby, you would have looked at Honey, you would have looked at these players and thought one of those will be the top scorer. But for Herman Cano, as I say, at 35, to have scored 8 goals in the competition this year, I mean, he'll be absolutely buzzing. I mean, Paulinho of Atlético Mineiro has 7, but he scored loads of those in the qualifying stages. And underneath that is Dulan Pamor of Atlético Nacional, who of course are out on 6. There's a host of players on 5, but, you know, he's going to end up top scorer as Herman Cano.
Montenegro, come on, but just look at the clock and look at the scoreboard. Let's go back to Reviví, where Dr. Kennedy applied his trade for the Alvarez side. Here he comes again, and this time not that far off target, but wanting to have a go. Stayed down. The ankle, that's what he's saying. He doesn't have to do this because this one's wrapped up. But that side, that club, will get a run out in the 4th division in Brazil.
Really must have been some experience for him, John. You know, you're playing at all the glitz and the glamour of a football club like Fluminense and the Maracanã, and all of a sudden you're down in the 4th tier. I mean, incredible that he's even back playing, really.
Well, the Paulista throws together the giant Santos, São Paulo, Corinthians and Paulista. Then you get the likes of Reviví, who are in the 4th division, in the same mini competition. A long old tournament as well. Far too much football played into Brazil, which somehow sometimes accounts for the relative slowness because it's a long old year. Get the young players who come through the Copinha basically starting on the 2nd of January. Well, some of those get themselves into the first team, so they're going to be playing all the way through until December. A lot of football. Fluminense 5 minutes away. That place in the semi-final then booked Internacional, the opponents. Should be played in the final week of September. first leg, second leg, first week of October. I'm plenty of time for Felipe Melo, for example, to lick his wounds. Time for Internacional to focus as well on their plight in the Brazilian league. And then they've got Mr. Consistency. Palmeiras, of course, whatever tournament they're in, they're always put on an effective show. Boca, they will have to steady themselves in the Copa de la Liga in Argentina.
Look at the four sides, John. I mean, Boca are the ones who haven't really, as yet, shown, you know, why they could go on and win it. You know, people think it's crazy outside looking in. They are six-time champions, of course, and
It's Kennedy still going, has it nicked away. Referee was never going to call for that one. But yeah, you're right about Boca, but they are the name, aren't they? With respect to Palmeiras in recent years. But Boca, you put Boca Juniors in the final, how many more millions will be watching around the world?
Yeah, I mean, they're so synonymous with South American club football, of course, but the reality is when you watch them, you know, as much as we do, you realise that they're pretty poor compared to so many top sides on the continent, compared to their financial might of Brazil. So, I mean, anything could happen, of course, but Palmeiras, I think, would have to go really badly wrong to not beat Boca over two legs. And then, you know, the Inter-Flu is just an absolute toss-up. It's going to be really interesting because there's a month to be, you know, a month before those semi-finals, so it's, a lot could happen between now and then.
Gonzalez coming on for John Kennedy, and also Boca Cavani there lurking. Wouldn't that be something if he could lead his side to the final of this year's Libertadores?
Yeah, it would be something really special.
So many ingredients, so many things to look forward to. Lille, a player of some talent, but lacking consistency, that's been his issue. And look very clumsy at times, the number 99. Is the second goal, isn't it?
Yep, clearly onside. I like this from John Kennedy. Only got one thing in his mind. He's going to drive at the defender, go on the outside, zip his strike away. Unlucky not to score himself, but Cano, what a tournament he's had.
Fluminense did very well to pick Cano up from Vasco. They got relegated a few years back. Never looked back. Supreme bit of business for the Tricolor Carioca.
Do you think a non-Brazilian side will win the Libertadores in the 2020s? For me, it's just incredibly hard to say.
Go back, well, only last season, and in the Sudamericana, Del Valle, convincing winners against Sao Paulo. Aside from Ecuador, giving all the other South American countries some hope.
I mean, Mr. Cottle's dodged the question there. You know, the Sudamericana when, you know, it's Libertadores land.
It is. The thing is about the success that Brazilians have, it's a double-edged sword, because not only Brazil, of course, but nowadays, especially with the Premier League, where the rules have been changed, and you don't need a point system. You can just pick any player up. Andre may not have, I think he would have actually been able to fit in a GBE system, the number of points. I think he would have qualified no problem. But there's so many other players now who don't have to get those amount of points. So in Argentina and Brazil, young players being cherry-picked very, very early on, that a year ago, less than that, they would not have qualified for a work permit in the Premier League. Yeah. That is a major problem. It's going to affect everybody, but in particular the Brazilian sides as well. So that might just level things down. However, it's not only Brazil, it's Argentina who've been losing their best young players early on. So who can bring in the older guys might be the issue.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just when I mentioned the last 13 years, the Libertadores, 9 have been won by Brazilian clubs. I mean, the ones that haven't been won by Brazilian clubs, River Plate in 2018. It was, of course, with Marcelo Gallardo, a kind of an astonishing era. River in 2015, Atlético Nacional in 2016, San Lorenzo in 2014. I mean, aside from that, it's just been all Brazil. Either the last 13 years or the last 4. Unbelievable domination.
Yeah, really, in the last, say, 4 or 5 years, it's that economic dominance. If we look at the second goal again, Cano just goes away, doesn't he? Just a bit of fortune to come off the knee. He knows where it's going to be, and he makes that run, times his run to perfection. Sets up Kennedy for the shot on goal. Good to see him going both ways. However, you've got to put it in context. This Olimpia backline, as we saw for the first goal, so flat-footed, so slow and pedestrian. Yeah. Maybe even you could have waltzed past them, David, tonight. Possibly. Fluminense, will it be goal bound? It will be, and they make it look so easy, and Cano drills it home. Just to add the icing on the cake tonight is brace. No Kennedy on the pitch for the assist on this occasion, with some glum faces in the stands. And Cano and Fluminense making it look all so very, very easy, and a convincing score over the 2 legs. He's onside. Is he onside? We'll check that in a second. A bit tighter than I first thought. Easy. We're talking about how plodding this Olimpia backline is. And here's proof positive if you ever needed it.
Yeah, he's onside too, John. I think for me, you know, Fluminense had that fabulous result against River in the group stages where they won 5-1. But this, take nothing away from this result. You know, to come here to Asuncion with the fireworks crackling before kickoff, with everyone thinking that maybe Olimpia could really come back and do it as they did against Flamengo, and to produce a performance and a disciplined result like this, 3-1 as it stands. Could be more goals because they look so good going forwards. Absolutely astonishing. Goal stands, and for Herman Cano, 9 in the Libertadores this year. My goodness, he's going to hit double figures, isn't he?
Certainly has a wonderful chance to do so. David, Fluminense fantastic. Olimpia just not good.
Possibly, yes. I mean, a combination of the two, always. But I just think for this Flu side, you know, the fact that Olimpia caused Flamengo so many problems and knocked them out, the defending champions, and the fact that Fluminense have taken apart the Paraguayans over 2 legs, 5-1 on aggregate, John. I mean, that's really impressive, really impressive. And I think they'll go into the game against Inter, the 2 games against Inter, of course, and they'll fancy it. I mean, Inter will fancy it, of course, themselves, but that's a cracking semi, 2 cracking semis.
Yeah, the confidence will be there. Travel to places like this and come away with a positive result. Again, as you mentioned it before, they turned over Flamengo by 3-1, the Paraguayans. Shall we overdoing it with the celebrations? 5 minutes seems a bit cruel, doesn't it? On the Olimpia side, straight out of play.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was expecting this tonight, John. I really don't. You know, 3-1 in Asuncion, beating them 2-0 at the Maracanã. What about this man, Cano? I mean, I love the delay here. Could have taken it on there, decided not to. Took that extra touch, fizzed it past the goalkeeper. Just top quality. And, you know, they've got very decent odds on him being top scorer of the competition. And having 9 goals, I mean, very impressive. Are they going all the way? Are they going all the way? Interesting as well, John, the Kennedy-Cano combination. I mean, what do you think about that? Because they don't necessarily link up together. They're kind of 2 individual strikers. You've got the fox in the box Cano, and you've got the pace and the flamboyance of Kennedy, but it seems to work. I mean, what do you think about that? Because they don't necessarily link up together. They're kind of 2 individual strikers. You've got the fox in the box Cano, and you've got the pace and the flamboyance of Kennedy, but it seems to work.
It's that combination of the different skills. But again, in the context, I think Olimpia have done well to get to this stage, but they've been poor over the 2 legs. Just for me, I've said it a few times, the energy levels weren't there, the gung-ho attitude was never there. Build across, and maybe even more here for Fluminense. Seconds remaining here. But they just never at it. You said it, they didn't turn up. And that's been majorly disappointing. The lack of belief, and maybe you can point the finger at Francisco Arce as well for not driving his side forward.
Fluminense won the first leg at the Maracanã by 2 goals. They win the second leg at the Defensores del Chaco by 2 goals, and impressive in eliminating Olimpia by a 5-1 aggregate scoreline. 3 Brazilian teams in the last 4 of La Gloria Eterna. La Gloria Eterna of the Copa Libertadores, as Fluminense will be taking on Internacional in the semifinals, as they mentioned, in about a month's time. And the fans of the Tricolor Carioca that made the trip to Asunción, well, they are ascending at the right time, and it is a joyous and celebratory trip for the faithful of Fluminense, and class by the Olimpia fans to applaud Fluminense and, of course, applaud their players as well, as Olimpia's magical run. They took down Fla, but they caught the flu and couldn't bring down Fluminense, and it is O Tricolor Carioca, the red, green, and white of Fluminense. That is going to be a fantastic matchup between Fluminense and Internacional. And on the other side, of course, is maybe the marquee matchup, Palmeiras against Boca. But what a performance by Fluminense.